It's a Q&A! But we're also making brownies at the same time. These brownies have nothing to do with hiking. I just really felt like making brownies today. So welcome to my kitchen. And thank you to everybody who wrote in with your questions. Let's start with a very serious question. If aliens landed and wanted to go hiking, which trail would you show them first and why? We take them to Tassie and we go to the overland track, right? Because that's Australia's, best bits. And then maybe they can use some of their alien technology and help us find the thylacine. But if the aliens turned out to be evil, then we can pretend that Tasmania is Australia and the mainland doesn't exist. And so we can sacrifice Tasmania and everybody on the mainland would be safe. Are you coming back here to New Zealand? So yes, but not to live. I still have plenty more hiking that I want to do in New Zealand, and I'm hoping that I can go there probably towards the end of summer, 2025 summer. We'll see how we go. But now that I've made some friends over there, I'm excited to see them too. So these questions were kind of similar, so I've put them together. Will you ever give up your boots for trail runners? And what footwear do you use for multi-day walks? So yes, I will be giving up my boots for trail runners. The only reason I haven't done that so far is money. It's kind of that situation where I own perfectly good hiking boots that are not falling apart yet, so I kind of can't warrant myself buying trail runners, even though I know, for me personally, I know that it would have some huge benefits. I currently use Keen hiking boots. They have like a wider foot box and your toes can spread out a bit. I've used Scarpa, I've used Oboz, I've used High Tech, and they are all fantastic for day hikes, but for multi-day hikes, my Keens just tend to feel a bit better for me. But yeah, if you do use trail runners, let me know which ones you use, because that is something that I will be moving towards, hopefully in the near future. Let's start with these brownies. Avocado. So my kind of process with recipes is I find recipes and then I ignore them. I will change things, I will substitute things, I will omit things. And don't worry, you will not be able to taste the avocado, I promise. If it's raining / poor weather, do you still go or do you reschedule? I have never been in a situation where the rain has been so bad that it would be like 20 mils of rain this day, 20 mils of rain the next day, and the next day, and the next day. I've only really had kind of one. Is this distracting? I feel like it's making whooshy sounds that's too close to the mic, I don't know. Let me just smash this avocado first. I've definitely been in situations where one of the days is gonna be torrential rain, and then the other days might be like 5 mil or just general shit weather, but not to the point that you would drown. I would if it was going to be all of the days really high amounts of rain, because obviously for me rain is very annoying when I'm trying to film, gotta protect the camera. It's just less enjoyable. I love the sunshine and just hot weather. I like to think that when you're planning a hike and you've selected some dates, for whatever reason those dates become yours and you're going to be gifted certain weather or certain people on that track. The universe has decided that those are going to be your dates. That probably makes no sense, but it definitely helps me to be like, this is the weather that was meant for me on this hike because I chose these dates a month ago or 6 months ago. And I think it's a lot to get to the point of when you're about to leave for a hike, so to reschedule is almost more work. So it's always disappointing when it is going to rain. Without the rain, what's that saying? Without the rain, you can't value the sunshine. Is that a saying, or did I just make that up? Let's just pretend I made that up. Where do all the flies go at night? Where do all the flies go at night? That's like a pure shower thought. Can we Google this? Before sunset, a sleepy fly will try and find a safe place to rest. Some favorite places are on the underside of leaves, twigs, branches, or even tall grass or under rocks. They need a comfortable place to sleep that will shelter them from the cold, rain, and wind. Do flies really rest like that? That's adorable. Has anyone seen the movie Mouse Hunt from like the 90s? And there's the little mouse and he's in his bedroom, but his bed is like an old tin, but he has like a blanket and he's really cute, just resting. Flies, man. There you go. They need to rest, just like all of us. Have you ever encountered some creepy or weird humans while hiking? Or maybe an alien? Creepiest thing ever encountered on the trails. In case you're wondering why there's so many alien questions, because that was kind of one of my prompts when I said that I was going to do a Q&A, which I think is hilarious. You guys are great. I can say I haven't really encountered any creepy things or creepy humans while on a hike. I do remember a very eerie night. I was on the Cape to Cape track in Western Australia, and it was the last campsite, and there were no bugs. They must have all been resting, but it was completely silent. And you know how nighttime is normally just the most wild sounding, all the sounds light up at night. There was nothing. And I was a little bit in from the ocean, but I couldn't even hear the ocean. That particular campsite was also it was a hiking campsite, but it had a vehicle management track for the parks people. But the fact that there was a track that you could drive into definitely made it even more eerie, that someone was just going to rock up in their ute at nighttime. So that night I did end up sleeping with my PLB right next to my head. It was just a very weird feeling in the air, but I think it was due to there being no bugs. I definitely feel a lot safer at hiking campsites as opposed to normal campgrounds. Nothing else creepy. No aliens, unfortunately. How are we going with these brownies? What's next? Milk! Half a cup of milk. Doesn't have vanilla essence in it, but we're adding vanilla essence because vanilla is the greatest flavor there is. 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. The real recipe has more maple syrup, but that's a lot of maple syrup. And a little sneaky add-in that everybody should do with their brownies is add in Nutella. This is a poor man's Nutella because it is Cole's home brand. How much Nutella? However much your heart desires. I think this is also expiring soon. 17th. It's already expired. Sorry, expired's not the right word. Best before. Also, I did the dishes for you guys. My backpack has so many straps that has excess left over, and I'm wondering if I should cut them off or secure them with tape. I would love to know what you do with your backpack strap leftovers. I have never cut any straps off my backpack, mainly because mine are not long enough to the point of being annoying, but it's not uncommon to hear that people do cut off some of their excess straps, so I think if it is annoying for you, go ahead and do it. Just don't ruin your backpack because of me. But yeah, just think about how annoying is it, and if it's annoying, choppy chop. Maybe you could go for a hike with them taped, and then if you find that much more enjoyable, then you'd know. Then you'd know to chop. This is another question that I've joined together. Any plans to backpack in America, and are you considering any longer hikes? Let me take you back to 18-year-old Hayley. I had finished high school, gone straight to university. I did a bachelor's degree in film and television, and then I did a couple of internships as part of that, and then I went straight into a full-time job as head video editor. During that time that I worked as a video editor, which was just over 3 years, I was saving up my money to have my first proper holiday in America. And then it was 2020 and COVID came and I lost my job. But that trip to me was like a celebration for all of those intense, hard learning years, and just a gift to myself for doing well in school and getting a degree at university and then getting a full-time job in the field that you actually studied, which, you know, especially when you study film, like so many people don't end up working in film. So that trip to America was definitely going to be a lot more meaningful to me because of those years that led up to it. It's now 2024 as I'm filming this and I still have not been. I think about it daily, but it was after that kind of holiday that then I was going to return 2 years maybe later and hike either the Appalachian Trail or the Pacific Crest Trail. So the whole COVID thing obviously just, I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat, just completely threw me off that trajectory of what I had planned for myself. That is literally why I moved to New Zealand, because I felt like I needed to go somewhere. All my friends had gap years and went traveling, and I kind of hadn't done that. I literally just worked. And so I moved to New Zealand just to fill that void with something, and that obviously took pretty much all of my America budget. So now I have no money to get to America, even if I wanted to right now. So definitely America is the one place that I cannot wait to visit. I cannot wait to go hiking there. It's just gonna happen later than what I had planned for myself. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. For beginners, what length of time do you recommend walking each day, and how often do you take breaks / how long for? I reckon if you are a beginner on a multi-day hike, I reckon 3 hours of walking each day is perfect. You know, if you think about it, if your day is 8 hours long, 7 hours long, you have 7 hours to walk 3 hours. So you really can just absolutely live in the moment and not worry about time, and just take as many breaks as you want and stop and look at everything and just really be there and be present. 3 hours I think is perfect. If it's 4, that's still cool. If you consider that you still gotta like pack up your tent and set your tent up at night again and just cook your food, and how often do you take breaks and how long for, that is definitely a balance of listening to your body and keeping the kind of time frame in the back of your mind. My entire day is kind of filled with micro breaks because I'm stopping to film, but obviously that's not a true break. So it is quite exhausting doing that. Sometimes if I know that I have a big day ahead of me, I'll try and whack out like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, probably more like 2 at the very beginning. And then at least you know you've got some time underneath your belt like that. You just have to remind yourself that you have all day to hike however many hours it is. So just break that up. Break that day up into, I'm gonna walk for 1 hour and then I'm gonna have a 15-minute break. Even set like obstacles in the distance, because I mean when I hike I kind of know the elevation profile, so it's like, oh, if I'm gonna get up this hill first and then I might have a break, as opposed to having a break just before you tackle the hill or something like that. If people are overtaking you, or they're gonna get to a campsite first or a hut first, just please don't think about that. You have all day. Like, what are you trying to rush for? So I'm such a supporter in having breaks, and just if a hike says it's gonna take 4 hours and it ends up taking 8, that's awesome. You literally just lived in that moment of that day and took everything in that you possibly could. Okay, now we have some more ingredients. We have 1 cup of whole wheat flour and some bicarb soda, 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. Then we have our chocolate chips. My advice for brownies, even like muffins or something. My favorite kind of chocolate out of dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate is milk chocolate. But if you're making brownies or muffins, white chocolate chips. They just do something. So this packet is 200 grams. I'm just gonna put half the packet in. And now we stir. Have you ever been to Bonny Doon? As a matter of fact, yes, I have. I used to play for the Ovens and King Football Netball League. One of the teams we used to play, Bonny Doon. I also used to drive to Melbourne every week for my first 2 years of uni, and I would drive the back way to Melbourne through Bonny Doon. Do you prefer beach or mountains? I prefer mountains, and that's mainly due to growing up inland Victoria. Closest good beach is probably Torquay, which was like a 3.5 hour drive maybe. So it was very special to be able to go to the beach. And so as a result of that, like some of my best memories growing up as a kid is swimming in dams and lakes and rivers. And so when I'm on a hike, that kind of translates. It's a really nice feeling when you see a lake or a river or someplace like that to swim in. So of course I love beaches as well, but if I had a preference, mountainous areas as opposed to coastal. Let's put this baby in the, I didn't turn my oven on. Step 1. Turn your oven on. I've decided it needs the evil walnut on top. You know when you think something is made of chocolate chips but it's actually made of blueberries and you get a little bit disappointed? Same with brownies. It's like, oh, a brownie, but then it's actually got nuts in it. I'm gonna be that person and put nuts on it. My mum is a very good baker and, what's the other word? Chef-like person. So a lot of my recipes come from her, and my ability to not follow recipes also comes from her. So we're gonna sit here while our brownies bake. Tigers are my favorite animal. The next question, we have another double whammy. Do you do any particular exercises to strengthen your core and legs to assist in hiking? What exercise regime do you follow in between your hikes? So I don't do anything specific with hiking in mind. My exercise kind of week looks like I run 2 days a week, and those runs aren't even that big. They're like max 5 kilometers. If I even get to 5 kilometers, it's more about just going for a run. Although this summer I would like to run a 10K event. I will do HIIT 2 days a week, so high intensity interval training. And I have the Sweat app and I follow Kayla Itzinas. She's an Australian. She's a badass when it comes to HIIT workouts. And that's probably my favorite way of working out. And then another day of the week, I will go to the gym and lift weights. And so I have like a workout A and a workout B. And so workout A might look like squats, bench press, assisted pull-up, single leg hip thrust. Workout B might look like deadlifts, overhead press, lat pull down, back extensions. I also have an under-desk treadmill, which is one of the greatest things I've ever bought. And I pretty much walk on that at least 1 hour every single day. I used to be a very sporty person, so I did gymnastics and swimming and netball and soccer and, you know, always enjoyed cross country and athletics. And so exercise has always been very automatic for me because of team sports. If I was going to do a trail where, you know, the distances were a lot greater or the actual time frame was a lot greater, then I would change up my exercise routine to do something more hiking focused. But for me, it's really more about getting in some of that daily movement and also counterbalancing the fact that I do sit at a desk. Will humanity end via AI takeover, global warming, or zombies? I don't think it's going to end with AI takeover. I think in the same way that there are humans and humans are good and humans are bad, and thankfully there are more good humans than bad humans, I feel like AI is the same. If it gets to the point that they are extremely powerful, I feel like it's going to be more good AI than bad AI because they were trained off us, right? So I hope that's the case. As for global warming or zombies, both. I don't know if anybody else was in this situation, but when the lockdown pandemic came, it was great to be a hiker because you already had a stash of hand sanitizer and you already had a stash of toilet paper and you might have even had some dried food sitting there in your cupboard. So, you know, I feel like hikers are very prepared for the zombie apocalypse. Always keep that in the back of your mind. And as for global warming, yeah, we definitely take advantage of this planet, so that's gonna come back to us one day. What is your dream hiking trail or location? And if you could only hike a trail that was the last one you ever did, which would it be? If I could only hike one more trail, I would pick Havasupai Falls. I am really drawn to like the Utah, like Zion National Park kind of area. I don't know why, but just something about Utah. And so I really want to go do the Narrows, Angel's Landing, and hike to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and back out again. Do you have an opinion regarding ultralight packs versus substantial packs regarding comfort? I am definitely a supporter of ultralight packs, but only if the stuff that you put into that ultralight pack is also ultralight. You know, ultralight packs have a weight load limit, and if you start to creep up or beyond that weight load limit, then it starts to become uncomfortable. I think definitely to start off, traditional hiking packs have their place, and if you're not really that concerned about weight, traditional hiking packs still have their place. I'm definitely trying to get my gear to be lighter because I take camera gear, so then that kind of adds the weight back on. I'm definitely a supporter of ultralight packs, but you just have to not get too excited about an ultralight pack and make the rest of your gear lighter and then get an ultralight pack. That's kind of the way that I feel like you should do it. What surface do you prefer to walk on? Sand, dirt, or stone? Well, not sand. We can cross that one out immediately. Stone is fun. The big stones, like the Grampians kind of stones with like big boulders. That's a sign for a boulder. But then they can get slippery if it rains. And dirt is also good, unless it's muddy. I reckon my favorite surface would be that crunchy surface. When you're walking and you can hear the crunch underneath you. It's not too slippery. There's just the right amount of traction. The crunch, the hiker crunch. That's my favorite kind of surface. What is the best way to go from overnight hikes to multi-day hikes? If you've already done an overnight hike, you can definitely do a multi-day hike, considering that your gear is not really going to change that much apart from your food. The best way is to go and do it. I would say pick the easiest multi-day hike that you can. If you're like extremely worried, maybe pick one where there is exit points along the hike to get out in case you're just super fatigued, or even hike into a campsite, leave your stuff there, and then on the next day you hike to a certain spot and return to your campsite. That's, I guess, another way of doing a multi-day hike that might be a little bit more comforting or easier. But yeah, if you've done an overnight hike, it's that, and do it one more time. What do aliens pack for hiking? I'm sorry, I had to put all these alien questions in there. I mean, considering that the stereotypical alien doesn't wear clothes, they would be true ultralight hikers. They wouldn't need clothes. They're not going to be affected by elements in the same way that we're affected by them. So there'd be some pretty badass hikers there. Maybe they just pack what we pack because they don't want to be found out, right? They might be just doing some research or something, coming along on a hike. We've all been hiking with aliens. We just haven't quite picked up on it yet. And that would explain some of the people that we meet on the track, right? Some of those strange humans. Next time you're on a hike, pay closer attention to what your other hikers are packing. I think we should check on our brownies. I couldn't be bothered moving the camera into the kitchen, so I present to you some brownies. That was about 50 minutes in the oven, in case you're wondering. A brownie made with pure concentration, not doing a Q&A at the same time. The top is crunchy, the middle is gooey, you can't taste avocado, and you get a chocolate fix. It's a win-win. So I'm probably going to end this video here. If I didn't get to your question, I will save it for the next one, and I'll make sure there's not a 2-year gap between Q&As this time. And if you don't like Q&As, then at least you got a brownie recipe. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. I look forward to making more videos, and I love you, and I'll see you soon. Has anybody seen the movie called The Mist? Ooh. Ooh.